Hey everybody, Pastor Vern with your daily update for July 10th, 2020, as we move into the weekend. Remember, there will be worship at the churches this weekend at our regular times. If you're comfortable in coming to that, you can come and share in that, or else go to our online worship found through links through Facebook or on YouTube page channel, I guess I should say, Vernon Olson. And you can share in our online worship there also. Okay. We're going to continue on, finish up the week with women in the Bible. And this week we're going to reach back into the book of Exodus to a time when the Hebrew people were becoming incredibly strong, and the Pharaoh of Egypt was getting worried about that they were multiplying and building, their strength as they did the hard work that Pharaoh would call them to do. And he was getting a little nervous about that, and he came up with a plan. He came up with a plan that would cause a depopulation of the Hebrew people, especially the males. He was going to he had two midwives who were the I guess you would say the administrators of other midwives of Egypt, who were people who were in charge of all the midwives that would travel around, help women in the childbirth situation. Their name was Pauh and Shiprah, and those are Egyptian names. They were employees of the Pharaoh. They were Egyptians by birth, but something had happened with those two, is that they had become acquainted with the Hebrew God and had started to fear the Hebrew God. Other context, respect the Hebrew God, and knew that life was something that the Hebrew God found sacred. And so they were really torn by this order from Pharaoh to destroy the baby boys at birth. And in fact, some scholars would tell you that they would try to interfere. They were told to interfere with pregnancies even earlier on than that, in order to decrease the population. But they, having found a relationship with the Hebrew God, they were caught in this tough place. Now, do they carry out what the Hebrew God had said about the sanctity of life of his people, or do they follow Pharaoh, who had the power of life and death over them? We are blessed to know that they chose life. They chose, and they came up with an interesting excuse that they could not perform the work that the Pharaoh had said. They said that the Hebrew women were so strong and vital, that they gave birth so quickly that they rarely needed help, and we couldn't even get there in time to do anything if we wanted to, unlike the Egyptian women, who were not as vigorous in childbirth. Pharaoh knew that the Hebrew people were a strong people. Once again, the labors that Pharaoh put them through made them a strong people physically, and so he could kind of take that and buy that little misnomer or partial truth as a reason that these two women should not be punished. In fact, we see later on in in 2 Samuel that part of God's grace shown towards Pauh and Shiprah is that they married Hebrews, and they became part of the nation, the mothers of Israel. That they became a part of the favored people of God. So that kind of all worked out for them. They followed God instead of the will of men, and were rewarded with a life of faith and courage. All right. Well, good enough. We're going to be wrapping her up for this week. Not sure where I'm going to go next week with the dailies. So you'll have to tune in Monday and see what we come up with. Um, we may shift gears for a little bit and then come back to the women of the Bible in a week or two, just to kind of mix things up a little bit. Um, excuse me, allergies are driving me crazy again. So take good care of yourselves. Watch out for others the best you can. Stay safe, and we will see you on Monday. Blessings.